I almost built the wrong AI product. The first app, one that I was going to build from my journey from zero to AI engineer series, and I wasted a week's worth of time because I had done a few mistakes. So, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how you get from an idea, validated idea, to actually asking those deeper questions and then moving into design so you don't make the exact mistakes that I've made. So, if you're following my series, you would have seen the ideation video that I made, which laid out a very clear framework on some guardrails on the app decision and what I need to make. For example, I said that anything that's a prompt should not be an app, and several others. So go look at that video if you want to get a more detailed insight on ideation. Where my mistake was not really clarifying what the value proposition is and what value is this bringing to the users exactly, right? So if you look at the existing validation that I made, I got a couple of um, insights from Reddit. They said an AI visibility is useful, but they also said that showing keyword gaps is good. So I said, okay, keywords is a good opportunity. Let's start to map the demand or opportunities. And then I just went with it, right? So today I pulled back a little bit and I started asking some deeper questions in terms of like, why is this important? Um, Ranking isn't really a huge goal anymore. Um, is this Where does this fit? Is it more relevant for ads? Is this more relevant from an AI overview perspective? Or is Google Places more important? Because the first thing that you see is after the ads is the places or the maps, right? Or the FAQs. And only then the organic search is shown. So my question was, what if your search result is moving from page 4 to page 2? This is just giving you some generic service page advice, which is not really worth paying for. So I did, again, I thought like if it is that, it is promptable and it's game over, right? So I then went back and did a whole load of secondary research, which is not just validating your idea, but going deeper into funnels and how what happens from discovery, what problem are you trying to solve, and why it matters, right? So I started with service page optimization. Through my research, I found that Google Ads and spending money on unnecessary keywords was also an opportunity. There was also an opportunity for interpreting Search Console better and the up and coming area of AI citations and zero click visibility and how do you solve for that, right? So the filter that I put it through this time was, are people paying for it and how can I get the strongest signal, right? And this is where when I started to break down my original product that I had with GrowthMap, which is all about keywords and finding gaps, I started to then think about buyers. So local SEO agencies, they already have and they sell visibility work. Um, Agencies pay for tracking reports, citations, and they use more robust tools, right? So why would they need to pay for something which is a small product, which is a micro SaaS, until it genuinely solves a much bigger problem, which, as we just established, isn't there, right? Instead, what if we target beginners who need a narrow, credible service because they're new and they need something to establish themselves, right? So, by going through this sort of a framework, I started to then question who my buyer really is and what is their purchasing power and that is this actually valuable for them. So these are the three core questions which I did not assess when I started out very broad at an ideation phase. So I'm going to call this as a more detailed problem discovery to exactly mapping the features for our product, right? This is guys like the most important bit. So with that, by going through this, I kind of got to this place that freelancers or beginners who want to actually establish themselves doing local search SEO and then showing potential prospect businesses, hey, I found these issues, I can fix them for you. Is it worth having a chat, right? And this becomes a genuine value to them. And by going down this line, I'm hence removing all of the other ideas and taking them off the table, right? Because I don't want to do full Google business profile management or AI visibility monitoring or ranking or outreach automation or any of those things, right? So this is GrowthMap is then leaning towards how do we actually make the same app but build it for a better buyer, right? Because local business owners are not really buying an audit report, right? It does not help them. Freelance agencies, on the other hand, are also probably not leaning towards audit reports because they have more sophisticated tools that they already pay for, and they have recurring revenue from existing customers. So, the real persona that we want to choose is an aspiring freelancer or small agency who are creating a prospect brief, and they need to actually wow somebody without actually knowing them that well, right? Hence, our locals, one local search can become a freelancer sales artifact, right? That is our almost a single line value proposition, which then I arrived at, right? So how does this look like in reality, right? So a local search, which shows all the gaps, which turns into a pitch ready brief that they can show, and I'm pricing it as £12 per token per report. I'll give one report which is free, which can be chargeable, or back to customers, which means that um, they don't have to do this for free. They can charge the other customers who are doing it, or they could even upsell a service to say, hi, I can fix all of these are your issues, hire me and I can fix these SEO gaps for you, right? So part of me that's um, done this, and the biggest lesson that I want to give to the past me, don't freeze your design until you have exactly understood the buyer, their angle, right? Why, what's in it for them? So what? Why do they need to buy? What's their pain? And then be very specific about your buyer persona, right? Like I was when I started this, I was very fuzzy. I was like, yes, this is growth map is a local demand uh, uh, generation and competitor match tool that tells you exactly what's missing, right? But for who, and why should they pay for it, and what's existing already in terms of competition, and where's a gap in the market. So there is more in-depth questions and reasoning that you'll have to do with yourself, and a lot of time spent doing this. But trust me, this is worth it, because at the end of this, I've come up with a much more comfortable position where I know that anyone who's maybe learning to freelance, or who is a startup, who is a small marketing solopreneur, right? We can exactly give them a report like this, and they can put this in front of a potential customer, and that's them getting a foot in the door, right? And this could be useful for people who are on Upwork, or people who are like having their own local agencies, right? So that is worth us actually doing a slight pivot and defining the exact details of why this matters, right? So anyone listening to this, if you're following me on my journey for building app one, um, look at the roadmap. App one is all about how do I make a simple AI integration and an AI call. But I am building this with every single phase. I've done the ideation, I've done what I'm calling as a detailed research, discovery, and defining my core features. I'm going to go next into designing the database and setting up this multi-tenant database, and how do I build this microSaaS app. Um, as usual, please do follow me. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to give away all of this code, and hopefully you could build a similar app. I have a list of other ideas that you could explore. Look at my ideation framework. Definitely spend some time understanding who you're solving the problem for, and why it's worth solving, and why it's worth paying anything for, and keep the price low. Wish you best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one where we talk about the database design decisions and how my schema looks like. See you in the next one.